Howdy folks, I'm Canned Corn, cornily crooning to confused chickpeas.
I'm Amber.
And here are more confused chickpeas for us to croon to while they slowly get turned into hummus. Let's get started, leaving you with that horrifying thought. Alright folks, and our first letter is titled, Am I a Jerk for Uninviting My Fiance's Work Wife from Our Wedding? I'm a 29-year-old female, and I'm supposed to be marrying the love of my life, a 31-year-old male, in a few months. We've been planning this wedding for over a year, and it's been a beautiful but stressful experience. But there's one person casting a shadow over everything, and that's my fiance's work wife, Lily, a 30-year-old female. Let me backtrack a little bit. My fiance and Lily have been friends and co-workers for around 5 years. At first, I was honestly relieved that he had a good friend at work, especially since his job can be demanding and a bit isolating. I tried to be the cool, understanding partner who wasn't bothered by how close they were. But over time, their bond became, well, it became something that I just don't know how to handle. Lily is a huge part of his life. They text constantly, often late into the night, about everything from work issues to little jokes. She knows things about him that I sometimes don't even know. And it stings to realize how much she turns to her for advice and laughs instead of me. My fiance reassures me that they're just friends, that she's his work wife, and that it's no big deal. But it feels like she's gotten so close that I'm sometimes the one outside looking in. As we got deeper and deeper into the wedding planning, Lily started chiming in with her opinions. She has suggestions about our venue. It doesn't really feel like him. Our flowers. He's never really liked bright colors, remember? And even my dress, mentioning offhandedly that she knew his style and could help me pick something that he would love. I tried to laugh it off, but it hurt more than I wanted to admit. Here I am planning my wedding, and I felt like I had to measure up to her view of who my fiance was. Well, last week was our engagement party, and it was supposed to be such a happy day, but I kept noticing Lily glued to his side. I tried to join their conversations, but every time she would bring up a work story or inside joke that left me feeling like a third wheel at my own engagement. Then, in one of the worst moments, I walked up just as she was saying, if you change your mind, you could always marry me instead. My heart sank. I didn't know if she was joking or half serious, but my fiance laughed, brushing it off like it was no big deal. I couldn't just let it go. I pulled my fiance aside later that night and I told him how inappropriate her comment was. He looked at me surprised and said that I was just taking it too seriously and that Lily was just playing around. I felt like I was going crazy. Maybe I was just seeing something that wasn't there, but how would anyone be okay with hearing that from someone so close to their fiancé? The last straw came towards the end of the night. Lily had a few drinks, and she came up to me, asking if I was really okay with how close they were. She said something like, I can't imagine him with anyone else. It felt like a knife to my chest. I wanted to scream, but instead I just walked away. Later, I told my fiance that I didn't want her at our wedding, that it was just too painful to have someone there who clearly saw herself as a part of our relationship. He got defensive, saying that I was overreacting and just letting jealousy ruin our friendship that he cherished. He even implied that uninviting her would damage his reputation at work, and now he's barely talking to me because I'm making him choose between his best friend and his fiance. I don't know what to think anymore. I feel hurt, small, and like my feelings don't matter. My friends support me, but his friends think that I'm overreacting and letting insecurity ruin our relationship. Am I the one blowing this up, or am I right to want some respect and boundaries? Am I the jerk for asking him to uninvite her from our wedding after everything that's happened? All right, folks, what do you think?
You're not the jerk, but you need to uninvite yourself from this wedding. Like, it is very clear that he does not prioritize you or care about your feelings. It is very clear that she has feelings for him.
Yeah,
And that should be an immediate deal breaker. Like, this is not an innocent friendship.
yeah.
There's very clearly some very strong feelings for her, at least. And I imagine there's probably some level of reciprocation.
Oh,
Go ahead.
I was going to say that I think that she is trying to drive a wedge between OP and their fiance. It's clear, like you said, that she has feelings for him. And she is trying to desperately try to ruin their relationship. Now, he is feeding into this by
Hmm.
being the one, being her, by having her as his confidant.
Right.
And Oh, sorry.
Well, and not shutting down her bad behavior, just
Mm-hmm.
playing it off like a joke.
Mm-hmm.
Like she's literally like, you could just marry me, and he's like, oh, ha ha, how funny. She's just hilarious.
Yeah. I think OP needs to have a sincere conversation and talk to their fiance and say, look, Lily likes you. Do you want to be with Lily or do you want to be with me? Because it's not going to work for you to be with both of us.
Right, because uninviting her from the wedding will not fix the issue.
Yeah.
It will remove her from a singular event, but if she's still part of his life, there's nothing to stop them from cheating down the road.
Yeah. I mean, how long do you want to live in this woman's shadow?
Right, and she's not going to disappear. She'll find ways to be around you and keep making these little digs and whatnot. Like, how did she get so involved in wedding planning in the first place? Why is he inviting her into something that is usually reserved for the couple themselves or a couple in very close family?
No. But let me know what you folks think. So anyhow, take care and good luck. And Federal Wolverine 52 says, not the jerk, Lily sounds like she's conniving. I have very few good male besties. One of them got married about a year ago. I would never dream of behaving like that to his now wife. Honestly, you don't have a work wife problem, you have a fiance problem. And some guy in the UK says, yep, I'm prone to the Reddit dump him reflex, but I was thinking, honey, uninvite yourself from your own wedding rather than the work wife, because this doesn't feel good. Also, how do you feel about the work wife terminology that they're using?
I mean, I think in this case, I don't necessarily like it in general because I think it creates a marriage-like structure at the workplace that can lead to boundary crossing and unhealthy behaviors. And I think in this case, it has some very clear significance for her that she sees herself as his wife.
Yeah. I think you're right there. I think that it isn't necessarily good language. And Accurate Prompt 8800 says, not the jerk, the term work wife is icky as it almost always results in some crossing lines. This is a work wife on steroids situation. Sounds like Lily is more than a work wife. She would get rid of you and replace you as his fiance in a heartbeat. Lily's involvement in your fiance's life has gone far beyond casual friendship. Her opinions about your wedding and comments about marrying her instead shows that she doesn't respect the boundary between their friendship and your romantic relationship. While he isn't physically cheating, there is definitely an emotional boundary that he's crossed here. Your fiance is very weird indeed for saying that you're making him choose. You are his wife-to-be, not friend. He needs to acknowledge that if this friendship is damaging the trust and comfort in your relationship, then some boundaries are necessary. You are fully justified feeling uncomfortable about the situation. This is your relationship, and you have every right to feel insecure about it. Speak with your fiance and tell him that as things are, this situation can't continue. If he still doesn't understand, then definitely reconsider what this means for your relationship going forward, because him choosing himself and his feelings over yours isn't a recipe for a healthy and happy relationship. It's better to get things ironed out now than after you're married. Breaking up is a lot easier than a divorce, but hopefully it doesn't get to that point. I don't know, I kind of feel like the relationship's over. Alright folks, and our next letter is titled, Am I a Jerk for Telling My Mom that my stepdad was cheating with our neighbor and ruining their marriage? So I'm a 19-year-old female and I found out that my stepdad was cheating on my mom, and now my whole family thinks that I'm the bad guy. Here's what happened. I was at a coffee shop the other day, just grabbing a latte and trying to chill a bit. As I'm sitting there, I see my stepdad walk in. Nothing weird at first, I just assumed that he was getting a coffee too. But then our next door neighbor walks in right behind him, and they sit down together. They were super close, and at first I thought maybe it was just a friendly catch-up or something. But then they started holding hands across the table, and at one point he leans over and kisses her, right there in the middle of the cafe. I felt sick. My mom had been through so much, and I couldn't believe that he would do this to her. I tried to tell myself that it wasn't real, but I knew that I had to let her know. So I snapped a couple of photos on my phone just in case she needed proof. And later that night, I showed her. She was devastated, obviously. I mean, who wouldn't be? She ended up confronting him, and things have been a mess since. She has been talking about leaving him, and they're arguing all the time. Now, here's where things somehow get worse. Everyone in my family found out what happened, and they all think that I made a huge mistake by telling her. My aunts and uncles are saying that I shouldn't have gotten involved, and that this was a grown-up issue, and that basically I ruined their marriage. They are saying that my mom and stepdad would have worked things out eventually, and I'm the reason that they're falling apart. I'm honestly so confused and hurt by all of this. I really thought that I was doing the right thing by not letting my mom stay in the dark. But now everyone's making me feel like I've made everything worse. So am I the jerk for telling my mom about their affair and ruining their marriage? All right, folks, what do you think?
Not the jerk, and you didn't ruin their marriage. Your stepdad did by not honoring the marriage vows. And your mom is making the choice to break things off with him.
Yeah.
You know, their whole, oh, they could have worked things out. If they wanted to work things out, they still could. It's just that the mom has all the information now that she needs to make a decision about whether she wants to be this person or not.
Yeah.
And so I am not happy with these family members, and I'm wondering how many of them are cheating on their partners, you know?
Well, on top of that, like, they're saying that OP isn't an adult and that they shouldn't have involved themselves in an adult situation, but OP's 19.
Right.
They're legally an adult.
Right. Well, there are unfortunately people who, it doesn't matter how old you get, you could be 50, but since they're 70, you're still the kid.
Yeah.
And these are adult matters.
Yeah.
And that's not a good or healthy attitude to have. But even if OP was a literal child, like, there's nothing wrong with telling your parents if you see the other parent doing something shady.
Yeah. I think that I'm wondering if there's some other deeper reason why they would want this relationship to continue. Does he have a lot of money or something like that?
Right, if they benefit from it in some way.
Yeah. So I would wonder if there's some deeper motivation behind their comments.
There has to be. Like, there's either some deeper motivation, or they're all are either in cheating on their partners, or are with someone who's a cheater and are trying to justify their own relationship.
Yeah. But let me know what you folks think. So anyhow, take care and good luck. And OKPipe8992 says, not the jerk. You didn't ruin your mom's marriage. Her husband did by cheating on her. And OP replies, you're right. He did ruin it, not me. And Bubblegum Whirl says, not the jerk. You did the right thing by telling your mom the truth. She deserves to know what's going on, especially if it's impacting her life. It's not your fault that your stepdad made these choices, and you're not responsible for their marriage falling apart. It was already on shaky ground because of his actions. And Opie replies, thank you. All right, folks, and our next letter is titled, Am I a jerk for telling my daughter-in-law that my son bought his mistress a car? I'm a 59-year-old female, and I recently found out something about my son, a 32-year-old male, that I felt that his wife, a 30-year-old female, had the right to know. My son is married with 2 kids and seems to have a happy family life, but I learned through a friend that he's been seeing another woman for months. At first, I didn't want to get involved because it's their marriage, and I hoped that he would come to his senses. But then I overheard a conversation where he admitted to buying this woman a car using money from a joint account that he shares with his wife. That was the last straw for me. I couldn't stand by while he disrespected his wife like that and used family finances for something so deceitful. I told my son that he needed to come clean to his wife, but he blew me off and said that it was none of my business. So I decided to tell his wife myself. I felt awful about it, but I couldn't let her live in the dark about something so big. She was understandably devastated and confronted him. Now their marriage is in shambles, and my son is furious with me, saying that I've ruined his life and that I should have stayed out of it. Some family members think that I was right to tell her, while others say that I crossed the line and betrayed my own child. I didn't do it out of malice. I just thought that she had a right to know what was going on. Am I the jerk? All right, folks, what do you think about this very similar story?
No, not the jerk. I mean, you do not have to conceal secrets just because you gave birth to someone.
Yeah.
Like, OP did the right thing. Not only was he cheating on his wife, but he was using their family funds to finance this.
Yeah.
And so not only is he breaking marriage vows, but he's also stealing money from his wife and from the household to finance this extramarital relationship.
Exactly. But let me know what you folks think. So anyhow, take care and good luck. All right, folks, and our next letter is titled, I'm a 29-year-old female and my boyfriend, a 46-year-old male, knew me as a child. I may very well be overreacting here, but I'm a little weirded out by the fact that my boyfriend knew me as a child and never told me. We've been dating for a little less than a year and come from a smallish town. The age gap is big, but it's never been a major issue in my mind with us being fully grown adults now. We've met each other's families a couple of times, and up until recently, I wasn't aware that there were any mutual connections. Come to find out through a relative of mine that my boyfriend's then girlfriend used to babysit me when I was little. I was between 3 and 6 years old, and they were around college age at that time. Apparently, I spent a lot of time with this babysitter who lived with my boyfriend back then, and it wasn't uncommon for them to babysit me together. I brought this up to my boyfriend to see if he would remember at all. He told me that he did, and I was kind of shocked that he never thought to mention it. But he said that it wasn't a big deal, and it was so long ago that he didn't think that it was important to tell me. On one hand, I see where he's coming from, but I also think that knowing me for 3 years as a child is something worth bringing up at least once. All right, folks, what do you think?
I mean, I definitely get OP's discomfort here. You know, this is a very awkward realization. I can understand why she does not appreciate that this was hidden from her.
Yeah, I mean, certainly this is kind of a rough situation. OP is the only person who can decide if they're comfortable with this or not. The fact that he was a full-grown adult when she was 3 or 6, is evident by the fact that he's the age that he is, right?
Right.
But
No, go ahead.
But it does add an extra layer of what does this even mean? How creepy is this that he was around me as a child?
And caring for her too. Like, 'cause it sounds like he helped his girlfriend babysit. And certainly, like, it doesn't sound like he was actively involved in OP's life after that, but it still does give me the ick.
Yeah, I think it's a very strange situation, and I feel bad for OP because I think this is something that's going to kind of eat at them for a while here. But I don't know. Let me know what you folks think. So anyhow, take care and good luck. And Commercial Pair 543 says, I think he didn't mention it because he knows exactly how it sounds. I don't know. I'm a similar age to you, and I think age gaps are less relevant at our age, but I wouldn't want to date someone who babysat me. There's a lot of strange connotations there. And while I do appreciate age gaps can be fine, he's not far off from my dad's age. It's conjuring some off feelings for how the two of you must be dynamic-wise. I thought you were always supposed to aim to have a partner who was closer to your age than your parents. And OP replies, definitely sounds weird and creepy. Off the bat, he acknowledges that, but insists it isn't a big deal, and I'm torn how to feel. He clarified that he didn't know this going into our relationship, and only made the connection when someone in his life pointed out a few months after we started dating. By that point, he said he was already emotionally invested and didn't want to freak me out. Despite the age gap, he's closer to me than my parents, lol. My mom and dad are in their 70s, so I've never associated his age with theirs, but I can see that someone could have easily had a kid as a teen, though. I guess at the end of the day, this is going to be up to OP and decide whether or not they are comfortable with this.
Right.
Like, he's known and he's chosen not to say anything, and he knew that this would sound weird, and that's why he's withheld it. All right, folks, it is tea time. Grab your beverages of choice. I've got some tea right here, and Amber, she has a joke.
Knock, knock.
Oh, it's a knock-knock joke. Who's there?
Haven.
Haven who?
Haven't you heard this one before?
I haven't heard that one before, no. And I have Earl Grey. All right, folks, that's all the time we have for today. Thank you so much for watching. Thank goodness it's Friday. That didn't work at all. Amber, we need some kind of moral advice in our guidance. And please have it a short rhyme.
Can't take the heat, don't cheat.
You can't take the heat, then don't cheat. That should be like one of those ad campaigns. Thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you all tomorrow.
Bye.